Imagine this scene. It's 2017, the night just before Eid al-Adha. We're in this quiet village in Al-Bukhara. There's this feeling in the air, anticipation. It's a time when doors are usually wide open, everyone's welcoming neighbors, and right there, at the heart of it all, lived Hajj Al-Sayyed and his family, his wife Aziza, their sons Mostafa and Yusuf, really beloved people, pillars of the community. Their house was known for being open. So just before the dawn prayer, Fajr neighbors see the father and sons heading to the mosque. They're greeting people, saying they'll meet up later for the sacrifices. Normal holiday stuff. But then, fast forward to about 4 p.m. that day, the house is quiet, like unnaturally quiet. They weren't at the mosque gathering. Nobody's answering phone calls. That joyful Eid feeling, it was replaced by this heavy silence.
Yeah, that kind of silence on that day, it immediately flags something is wrong, deeply wrong. The daughter's husband is the first one to arrive. He tries the outer gate, the big iron one.
The one that should have been open.
Exactly. It was always open, but this time it's locked. Strange.
So he gets inside eventually, and the silence hits him first. But then there's this trail of blood, dark blood, leading upstairs.
And that leads him to the final discovery. Hajj Al-Sayyed himself, near the door, lying in, well, immersed in blood.
It's just horrific.
It was more than just violence, though. What unfolded in that house was this fundamental shattering of trust in the community. A family known for kindness slaughtered in their own home. So, our deep dive today explores the investigation into this monstrosity, this case where the killer literally used excessive kindness as his cloak.
Let's really get into that crime scene, because what the authorities found was, well, it's full of contradictions, wasn't it?
Absolutely full of them. The scene itself was an atrocity. I mean, when forensics went in, they found all 4 family members murdered, individually targeted, executed with extreme violence. Aziza, the mother, she was in her room, stabbed multiple times and then covered. The sons, Yusuf and Mustafa, killed in separate areas, one in his room, the other out in the hall.
And the father, Hajj Al-Sayyed.
He was near the door, not only stabbed, but there were clear signs of, well, his throat was cut. It looked like an effort to absolutely ensure death. This wasn't just killing, it felt like overkill. Rage, maybe, or just making absolutely certain there were no witnesses.
But alongside that brutality, they found signs of ransacking, like drawers pulled out.
Right. Which points towards robbery, doesn't it? Theft as the motive. But then you think, how does simple theft lead to this level of personal, horrific violence against 4 people?
And how did it happen so silently? On Eid morning, people are awake, they're around, yet nobody heard a thing. No struggle, no screams.
That's the investigator's puzzle right there. If it was just random thieves, why the sheer brutality? And why the complete silence? It doesn't quite add up.
And then there was that one detail near the entrance that really changed everything.
Yes. The tray, sitting there, holding 4 cups of tea. That told police immediately this wasn't a break-in. The killer was a guest.
A welcome guest.
Someone they knew well enough to sit and share tea with, maybe just moments before the attacks began. So the profile shifts, from random intruder to someone trusted, someone close.
So you're looking for someone in their inner circle, someone who knew them, who they trusted, but who was also desperate enough to do this. Was there any physical evidence pointing directly to the killer?
One crucial piece, a bloody shoe print, left clearly on the floor, undeniably the killer's. So everything pointed to someone familiar, someone comfortable in the house, who used that trust. The big question became, who in this loving family's close circle was hiding a very dark secret?
And this is where the story takes such a sharp, disturbing turn. The focus starts to shift onto someone nobody would have suspected initially, the man known as Al-Safi.
It's genuinely chilling. Al-Safi wasn't just some casual friend. He was practically treated like family by the Al-Sayyeds. And the irony, he's also in the livestock trade, known everywhere for being incredibly generous. They actually called it AACI excessive kindness.
Excessive kindness, wow.
Yeah. He was the guy who helped everyone out, and when the bodies were found, he was right there at the scene, grieving openly with everyone else, playing the part.
So he's putting on this performance, using his good reputation as cover. What finally made the police look past that facade?
It came down to 2 key pieces of information that Al-Safi had deliberately kept quiet about. First, the money. Investigators found out Hajj Al-Sayyed had sold some livestock just a day or 2 before for 17,000 Egyptian pounds.
And that money was missing from the house.
Gone. And Al-Safi definitely knew about that sale. That was piece number 1. Piece number 2 was the game changer. The imam from the local mosque came forward. He remembered something Hajj Al-Sayyed had told him, sort of confided in him, right after the Fajr prayer that morning.
What did he say?
Hajj Al-Sayyed mentioned that Al-Safi had been visiting, had been at their house from about 10 p.m. the previous night, right up until just before dawn prayers. Al-Safi hadn't mentioned any of this to the police, not a word about spending the entire night there.
Wow. Okay, so that puts him squarely at the scene during the most critical time frame imaginable. The trusted friend is suddenly the prime suspect. And when they started digging into his background, I imagine that kind of image didn't hold up.
Not even close. It completely crumbled. This image he had of being the successful trader with widespread business, it was basically an illusion. When police looked past the reputation, they found a long history of crime.
Like what?
Get this. 8 prior convictions. 8. For things like embezzlement, breach of trust, theft. He wasn't just some nice guy who made a mistake. He had a pattern. A professional criminal hiding in plain sight using generosity as his mask.
So the successful businessman was a total fabrication.
Pretty much. Nobody had actually seen this supposed large-scale business he ran, those frequent trips he took, likely just evading people he owed money to.
And the money trail started to make sense too, right?
Absolutely. They found out he was heavily in debt. Specifically, he owed one creditor 3,000 EGP. But then, on the very day of the murders, Al-Safi suddenly pays someone 20,000 AGP.
Wait, 20,000?
Mm.
He steals 17,000 and pays out 20,000.
Exactly. He pays off that specific 3,000 debt and seemingly uses the stolen 17,000 to cover the rest. It's almost like a receipt for the crime, isn't it? It connects the motive, the timing, everything.
That's undeniable.
But here's a final, almost darkly ironic twist. There was actually an eyewitness who saw Al-Safi coming home after the dawn prayer that morning, and he had blood on his clothes. Fresh blood.
But nobody thought anything of it.
Because it was Eid al-Adha, the day of sacrifice. The neighbor just assumed it was animal blood from the preparations. The holiday itself provided the perfect, unquestioned cover.
Incredible. The timing was perfect for him in the worst way.
But that cover didn't last long. Police brought him in for questioning, and at the exact same time, they sent a team to search his house.
And that's where they found the final piece.
Yeah.
The shoe.
That's it. They found the shoe. Its sole print was a perfect match to that bloody print left back at the crime scene. Faced with that direct physical link between his shoe and the victim's blood, he couldn't deny it anymore. Al-Safi confessed.
What was his explanation? I mean, how do you even begin to justify something like this?
His justification was, frankly, horrifying in its own way. He admitted it, yes, but he claimed he was somehow forced to kill them. He actually said he was too kind and was afraid they'd find out he was stealing and report him.
He used his kindness as an excuse, even in his confession.
Yes. It shows how deeply ingrained that manipulative facade was. He then laid out the whole horrific sequence. He knew about the 17,000 EGP from a couple of days before. He spent the night, waited for the men to leave for prayers, but instead of going home, he hid nearby.
Waiting for them to leave so he could go back in.
Exactly. He went back inside carrying a knife. His initial plan, he claimed, was just theft. Only theft.
But Aziza, the mother, woke up.
She heard noises while he was searching, and in that instant, his plan shifted from theft to eliminating the witness. He attacked her immediately, stabbed her repeatedly, then covered her body.
He must have lost all sense of time then, searching for the money. Because the men came back from the mosque.
They did. They walked right into it. The first son, Mustafa, came in, and Al-Safi ambushed him, killed him right away. Then the second son, Yusuf, entered the hall, and he killed him too.
Just one after the other.
A chain reaction of brutal panic. Finally, Hajj Al-Sayyed, the father, reached the door. Al-Safi attacked him, stabbed him, and then slit his throat, making absolutely sure he couldn't identify him.
4 people. His friends, practically his family, murdered over 17,000 EGP. He just took the money, locked the gate behind him like nothing happened, and walked off into the Eid morning chaos.
It's a level of betrayal that's hard to comprehend. He was eventually sentenced to execution for the 4 murders. The case stands as this truly chilling example of how completely outward appearances, even excessive kindness, can hide a calculated, deadly intent. The very trust the family gave him was the weapon he used against them.
It really makes you think about that open door policy. Their trust, their belief in his goodness, it became their fatal weakness.
It definitely highlights the dangers of maybe unquestioning trust, especially when someone already has a documented history that suggests they shouldn't be trusted, even if you don't know about it at the time. Al-Safi relied entirely on his social reputation to get close and avoid suspicion.
So after delving into all this, what's the main takeaway for us, for you listening?
It leaves us with a really stark, uncomfortable thought, I think. We live in a world where we have to rely on social cues, on reputation to gauge people's character, right? But this case forces us to ask, when someone is desperate, and they've already shown they can betray trust, how much danger comes not just from malice, but from our willingness to trust too much? When does that trust itself become the fatal flaw? Something to really consider.